Hey everybody, welcome back to Garage Gear. I'm JB, and something very cool came in the mail for the Toro Timemaster. Stick around. So check this thing out. It is a lawn striping kit for the Toro Timemaster. This thing is massive. This is 30 inches wide. Look at this. Solid metal, I like that. It's not chintzy plastic. So I really like striping my lawn. I think it makes our corner lot look awesome. It always gets a lot of attention from the neighbors, especially since I'm trying to uphold the title of the best lawn on the block. I think this is going to be a very useful tool going forward. Now, I've been striping my lawn for years. I actually made a DIY lawn striper for my old lawnmower, and that did awesome. I actually had to do a double pass to get the really fat, wide stripes on the lawn, but that lawnmower kicked the bucket, and it came time to get a Toro Timemaster. So now, here is the old striping tube that I used last year, and I dragged it behind the Toro Timemaster, and there were these metal brackets that connected up here, and then there was one up here to that end, and this was actually very difficult to turn this whole unit. It did do a great job striping, as you can see in this photo here, but it was extremely difficult to turn this. It just didn't pivot well around curves. It was much more of a pain. This Timemaster striper will actually pivot and turn much easier, which I'm really looking forward to. To make this on my own actually cost me about $60 between the pipe, the sand, the end caps, which are surprisingly expensive. I think these run about $5 a piece, the bolts, and then the metal brackets were, I think, about 1/8 of an inch thick, maybe a little bit thicker, and those just snapped. After about, I would say, maybe 10 uses, they just gave out and they snapped, and that was the end of that striper. I am going to repurpose the sand inside of this. I'm going to put the sand in the new Timemaster striper. So let's talk about what you actually get here in the box. I like how they actually threw some different patterns that you could try out. I've done all those, trust me, with my old one. So let's open this bad boy up. Okay, look at this thing. Wow. That's pretty heavy as it is. Cool, you get some combs right here. This is gonna kind of brush through the grass. That's neat. Pop this bad boy over here. Okay, so it's just as wide as the other one I made. What else do we get here? Okay, so here's our bracket. And then these are gonna be what attached to the mower itself. I believe that's the right side, and here's the left. Looks like we get a few pins, a couple bolts, and some lock nuts. Striping manual. Cool. And forgive me, everybody, I know my Timemaster is a little bit dirty. Don't worry, I'll get it cleaned up. I'm actually gonna be doing a whole review on this guy coming up very soon. I have my trusty Pittsburgh 225-piece socket set ready to go. We're gonna use this to get these nuts and bolts loosened and tightened up. So let's start putting some things here together. What we got here is a bolt down low hidden behind the wheel. It says in the instructions to just loosen this. You don't have to take it all the way out, just loosen it up a little bit. So now we have to take the small bolt that's provided and the lock nut, and we're gonna slip this in right here, and then we have to get the bolt behind it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna open up the chute here, get my hand back there, put the nut on. I'm gonna take my wrench and stick it behind. Not a lot of room back there. There we go, now it's kind of in place. Take my socket. Go. That's on, and then I'm going to now retighten our previous bolt that we loosened up. That's done. It's on there. Okay, so I did the same thing on the other side. I just loosened this bolt, installed my new bolt, and the lock nut on the other side, tightened them down. Very simple, very easy install. We're gonna take our bracket now, and I have this hook. I want this hook to point upward. So I'm gonna stick this in here. Perfect. And it comes with these little pins, which you use to lock it in. There's that one. There we go. That's now on. So now we take our striper, put it on, and there you go. That's what she looks like. So that's what I'll be seeing when I'm looking down here as I'm pushing the mower. That's actually gonna make turning a lot easier because it can pivot much easier on that point. Kind of like a semi-truck dragging a trailer or a pickup truck pulling a boat. So now the big question becomes, how do we get the sand that's in this old striping kit into this one. Okay, so what I decided to use to hold this striping kit upright is these aerobic step squares. And inside, I put 2 weight plates. Now that center hole is where this pin right here on the side will kind of rest in. That way it's not kind of rubbing on the ground. It'll sit right inside that center hole, and then the whole thing will stand upright. Now if we look here, there's a fill cap. I'm gonna take a flathead screwdriver, remove that, and then we should be able to fill it with sand. Okay, so I've removed the cap from the top. And if we look inside, you can see that this hole actually gets progressively smaller the farther down you go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shove a funnel in here, and that should help get all the sand in. Let's see if we can find a decent sized drill bit. Ah, perfect. One of my step bits from my old snowblower impeller kit videos. By the way, I'll have that link down in the description below so you can check that out. But this will actually do us just fine. What this will allow us to do is drill a hole right here, and it'll get progressively bigger, and that should help us pour the sand out into the funnel. All right, so now I gotta watch my fingers because I gotta drill into this so that way we have a good sized pouring hole. That should do. So I have my funnel, I have my old lawn striper here, and that's actually pouring out pretty nicely right inside the new striper. Now the instructions say to fill up your Toro Timemaster striping kit to about 20 pounds. Now I don't have the thing with the plug in it yet, but let's put it on the scale and see what it gets to. All right, so we're at about 18, maybe 19 pounds on the scale. So I'm gonna add just a little bit more sand. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have now put our striping system on the weight scale, and it weighed out at just about 20 pounds, which is what Toro calls for. So I'm gonna put on our cap, and we're gonna seal the deal on this. That'll do. That actually looks like it'll do a pretty good job. I like that. It pivots nicely. Even when I back it up, it doesn't just kind of pivot right away to one side. It kind of takes its time. That's nice. So I have a feeling, ladies and gentlemen, that the reason that they only want about 20 pounds of sand in here is that if you put too much sand in here, there is still some room inside that tube. If you put too much in, it could stress out the transmission, and that could actually lead to further problems down the road. I plan to do a thorough review of this. As you can see, it's getting dark outside, so I don't plan on cutting tonight. But over the next couple weeks, I will be using this, and I'm gonna create another video in which I'll give a thorough review of this. So stay tuned for that. And if you're interested in purchasing one of these Toro Timemasters, I have a link down in the description below, so check that out. If you found this video helpful, give me one of these. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, do so, because you'll stay up to date on all the latest content that I'm cranking out. Thanks again for tuning into Garage Gear, and I'll see you in the garage.